Hello everyone, and welcome to my review of Pizza Tower. This quirky platforming game that was released in 2023 was recommended to me by my friend Chris. Pizza Tower is a video game developed by none other than... Who's this game developed by? Tour de Pizza. Now, before we get into the meat and cheese of this review, I just want to interject and say that nobody likes spoiled pizza. So, if you don't want anything in this game to get spoiled, then it's a good time to leave. But don't worry, cold pizza is still good pizza, so please come back for another slice when you finish the game. My first impressions upon starting up the game were not good. A combination of the horrendous keyboard controls and an unfortunate event that occurred when I was trying to figure out said horrendous keyboard controls.
How do you start it? How the hell do you start this game? I don't know. Jesus Christ! Holy shit!
As I mentioned before, this asshole game is a platformer. Now, normally one of the most important attributes I am looking for in platformers that I tend to like is crisp and fluid movement. I grew up playing the gold standard for platformer games, like the Super Mario series. When I first started Pizza Tower, the controls were such a turnoff. The keys didn't feel natural at all for me, and I really could not figure out the controls, even in the tutorial. My experience with the game was definitely starting off on the wrong foot. That was until my friend Chris mentioned that plugging in a controller makes the game feel much more smooth. So, I plugged in my controller, and almost all of my negative first impressions of the game's controls faded away. The controller is the only viable way to play this game, in my completely correct and undisputable opinion. The plot of Pizza Tower is extremely simple. We have a pizza man who is down on his luck named Peppino. Peppino owns a pizzeria that is not making much money. Things take a turn for the worst when a real pizza man next door threatens to destroy his restaurant. Then Peppino chases this man off his property until he arrives at a really big tower. But this isn't just any tower. It's a pizza tower. In order to save his pizzeria, this rage-filled pizza maker must go to the ends of the earth to destroy his competition. The story is simple and easy to follow. All of what I just said is displayed to you in the intro of the game. Now, I can't speak for everyone who plays this game, but I would gladly die for pizza. And so too would the characters in Pizza Tower. Peppino is such a likable and charming main character. I cracked up every single time he would scream at the sight of some of the game's villains. Gustavo is my little baby, and I love him with all my heart. The villains all laugh and mock you when you get hit like the little shitters they are. All of these lovable characters combine together to make a game worth beating. The overall objective of the game is to ascend this tower floor by floor, completing levels to get money. Then you could pay this guy, this absolute scoundrel, to be able to fight the floor's boss. Each boss fight in the game is uniquely enjoyable and challenges the player to engage with the game's various mechanics to overcome the obstacle each individual boss presents. This game rewards the player for how much effort the player puts into learning its mechanics. You can slowly make your way to the end of the level, patiently approaching enemies and dispatching them, or you can blitz through the entire thing. The only time you need to rush is when you kill John Gutter at the end of a level. Then the clock starts to tick. If you don't make it back to the entrance of the level in time, well, game over. The game's skill floor is definitely low while using a controller. Progressing through the levels was never extremely hard. The only level that I thought was genuinely difficult, no matter how you slice it, was War. And honestly, considering that level is under a time constraint the entire time, it might have just been the overwhelming anxiety I was under the entire time. This is one of those games that if you take the time to learn the different mechanics, movement options, and level design, your experience will just get smoother and smoother. I simply am not one of those people, however. There were times where I would make the same mistake over and over again, all because I loved going at Mach speed. I think the best thing about the gameplay of Pizza Tower is easily how much the power-ups change up its gameplay. Each level will implement a different mechanic or power-up that makes it completely unique from the other levels. My personal favorite was when Peppino was turned into a pizza box and could fly. The last level of the game is absolutely brilliant. This level has Peppino escaping the entire Pizza Tower. This mad dash down all of the floors of the game has Peppino take a trip through the cause of his inevitable PTSD, as the level combines all the aspects he has learned throughout the entire game into one last race against the clock. The level design in Pizza Tower is amazing. Each level feels like a completely different beast to tame. One of my favorites is the Pig City on floor 4, which is referred to as the Slums. This level has Peppino running through a downtown area in a city with a bunch of crooks. The level is filled with so many hilarious encounters, and I can easily say it was one of the best levels in the game. Now, considering how much jokes and comedy is in this game, it would have you think that it is a comedy game. No. This is a horror game that throws you a frickin' bone every once in a while. For example, the level Oktoberfest is filled with nightmare fuel. Each floor of the tower is a completely different experience, while the levels with those floors all have their own flair as well. I find it extremely funny that in this world we can have games released by companies that have a laughable amount of money and resources, and they can get completely outdone by an indie company who just simply love the game that they made. The crude art style of Pizza Tower is such a boon to its overall experience. It may look like it was made in Microsoft Paint, but goddamn, an artist was sitting behind that computer. The music behind Pizza Tower is quite masterful. It perfectly encapsulates all of the themes in the game, like trauma and anxiety. Some standouts include Bite the Crust from the level Pig City, and The Death That I Deserve Ioli for when you're going for lap 2 in a level. Also, the intro song is an absolute banger. It gets me so pumped. I think music in a video game works when it actively portrays the elements that are happening within the game. The music in Pizza Tower perfectly depicts the themes of the game's levels and just overall the events that are happening in the game. Overall, I definitely liked Pizza Tower a lot. I think the major complaint I have with the game is personal preference. I generally like 100%ing games that I play, and it upsets me and hurts my pride as a player that I will never get to 100% this game. In order to get the highest ranking on Pizza Tower, you must do each level without getting hit, collecting all of the level's collectibles, and finding all of the level's secrets, all while keeping a combo the entire run. Absolutely absurd. Also, I feel that the game doesn't even reward you that properly for doing well aside from the ranking system. I could be wrong, because embarrassingly, I never got the highest rank in any of the levels, but based on my first playthrough, this is how I feel. I would absolutely recommend this game to anyone looking for a tight and enjoyable platformer. And that just about concludes what I have to say about Pizza Tower. If you want to see more reviews or more videos, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe.